coastline of Victoria is one of the most sensationally rugged in the world. In the middle of the 19th century, the fledgling colony was fearful of losing some of its population to New South Wales, where the recent discovery of gold in Bathurst had created Australia's first gold rush. Gold was also found in central Victoria, and it was so plentiful it reversed the population flow north. News of the rich gold fields spread all over the world, causing a massive gold rush on a scale never seen before. Some of those hopeful immigrants weren't legal. Many Chinese landed at remote ports on the coast to avoid an entrance tax of £10. They trekked across country to reach the gold fields and the expectation of a prosperous future. Our great caravanning odyssey now takes us away from the coastline to the goldfields too, and the Murray River. Along the way, we'll see some gold nuggets, meet a wildlife artist, come face to face with more than 100 dingoes, visit a couple of self-sufficient rug weavers, take a steamboat ride along the Murray River, and camp in the Barmar Forest of River Red Gums.
The gold rush was triggered when an Irish shepherd, James Esmond, found gold in Clunes Creek in June 1851. Now, within 6 months, the population of Victoria had grown from 97,000 to more than 500,000. The gold fields were swarming with diggers, and Ballarat is the undisputed capital of the gold fields. After all, it did give us the world's largest gold nugget.
Visitors can get a feel for those hectic days at Sovereign Hill, a recreation of the 1850s so authentic it's like a time machine to the past. The Sovereign Hill development is situated on 15 hectares of the very land which produced the richest goldfield in the world.
One really great way to get an overall feel for the extensive tourist complex is to take a ride on one of the horse-drawn coaches. The action at Red Hill Gully Creek is an authentic representation of the hectic scenes which confronted the thousands of hopeful diggers who came here. The creek does contain gold, and it's possible to find it with a gold pan. Horse-drawn puddling machines wash away heavy clay from gold-bearing gravel.
A legacy of the thousands of Chinese miners who came to Ballarat is the temple. Dedicated to Quan Gong, the warrior god, this temple is used by the local Chinese community of the district. Offerings of food are made here every day.
When it comes to food, none is more popular than the freshly baked pasties and pies cooked in the wood-fired oven every day.
Representing life in early Ballarat, Sovereign Hill has working factories such as the foundry, where all the machinery is driven by a single steam engine and a complex system of flat belt-driven wheels and shafts. Here, every day, hundreds of gold panning dishes are made on the metal spinning lathe. It takes a steady hand and a lot of experience to produce such perfect dishes in just a few minutes. The diggings are a high-demand area for objects like these.
In a large mining town like Ballarat, with a growing population, two essential items of everyday use were also in great demand: soap and candles. Both are for sale and made in Main Street. In the workshop on the premises, the candle maker uses a dipping apparatus known as a nodding donkey to make candles. The string wicks are immersed in melted wax for just 7 seconds to add another layer. They dry in the cool air and are re-dipped several times to build up a full-size candle. When finished, the excess wax is melted off the bottom by leaving just the ends in the hot solution for an extended period.
Three cheers for our Regal Majesty Queen Victoria and the brave men of the 40th South Somersetshire Regiment of Foot. Hip hip! Hooray! Hip hip! Hooray! Hip hip! Hooray!
At the end of the day, the redcoat soldiers provide a little entertaining street theatre.
Fingers in ears! Number one!
By night, the theatrical presentation resumes with a graphic depiction of the 1854 rebellion of the miners, which many people hail as the birth of Australian nationhood. The Eureka Rebellion saw the raising of a new flag depicting the stars of the Southern Cross. The rebels were crushed by the authorities, but the Southern Cross ended up on our flag.
It may seem odd to see an image of the Titanic in the main street of Ballarat. It was placed on top of this bandstand by the bandsmen of Ballarat in memory of the bandsmen who were playing on the Titanic as it was sinking on that fatal voyage.
At the Botanical Gardens in the middle of town is an avenue of statues representing each of Australia's Prime Ministers. The bronze portraits line the sides of Horse Chestnut Avenue and include every Prime Minister from number 1, Edmund Barton, to our present serving Prime Minister. The setting is beautiful and is only just one small part of the extensive Botanical Gardens. A walk along the avenue is an enlightening stroll through our political history.
No longer used as public transport in Ballarat, historic old trams are kept going by keen volunteers and run alongside the Botanical Gardens. The shores of the adjacent Lake Wendouree offer a quiet and tranquil escape from the hustle and bustle of the city, and has been so since the original swamp was improved in 1864 to beautify the city.
Ballarat was built off the riches of its goldfields, so no visit is complete without a chance to see some genuine gold nuggets. A great opportunity to view, handle and even buy one is available at the Gold Shop in the old Mining Exchange building. Owned and run by Cordell Kent, this is the place to buy a nugget or even sell your own gold, if you're lucky enough to have found some. Plenty of gold is still being found, according to Cordell.
That little parcel of gold is a parcel of natural gold nuggets worth about $1,500. It's just been dug up in the last week by local prospectors. It's all come up out of the ground around Ballarat. 23.5 carat natural gold.
Yeah, I'll get you a second double something.
What I do is take the natural gold nuggets, grade them, sort them, and then I figure out what I can use in different forms of jewellery. Some pieces go into pendants, some pieces go into bracelets, some pieces go into rings. It's a matter of looking at the nugget, trying to see its character, and then to incorporate it into a unique piece of jewellery.
Some nuggets are just too large or valuable as specimens to use in jewellery. These are left as nature made them 400 million years ago. Back in the Caravan Park, it's time to hook up the caravans and head north. Next stop, Daylesford.
At the Leylands, show you the way.
Victoria, we leave Ballarat and move on to Daylesford. Originally known as Wombat, Daylesford is a charming village which came into existence on the wealth which came from gold mining. The gold was in limited supply, but the town survived on the apparently unlimited supply of natural mineral springs. It is the heart of spa country. We decide to base ourselves in the van park right on the edge of Jubilee Lake, one of Daylesford's most delightful recreational areas. The lake was constructed in 1860 as a water supply for the goldfields. At one stage the lake was drained so gold mining could take place within its boundaries. When the mining was over, it was refilled to become a pleasant recluse for bird life and people wishing to simply stroll around its picturesque elm tree perimeter.
Activities are not restricted to walking. Canoes are available at the lake and offer a different perspective. Leaving our caravans at Daylesford, we explore the spa country region around the district. At Creswick, we divert off the main road to visit a wildlife artist who lives on a bushland acreage.
Lynn Cook welcomes visitors to her studio, which is situated underneath her house. She gave up teaching to pursue her creative interests about 8 years ago. She is largely self-taught, but exhibits such an extraordinary talent for meticulous detail that her work has won numerous art awards and is represented in many collections throughout the country.
I've been painting for about 15 years, I think, and professionally for the last 5. I always drew and painted when I was a child. I just loved it. I started off with some watercolour classes at an adult education centre and taught myself since then. So I live on 20 acres of bush, and most of the subjects that I paint are ones that are around the house or that I see when I'm travelling around Australia. So I've always been interested in birds and other native wildlife, but I particularly love birds, so they're naturally the subject that I choose to paint.
No visit to Spa Country would be complete without sampling a natural spring, so we drop into Hepburn to try the mineral water. The word spa originates from the Belgian town of Spa, which has been famous for its mineral waters since the 14th century.
That's enough. Ugh.
Oh, well, that's an acquired taste, I think.
It is. Sure you don't want to try?
There are many pleasant walks in and around Daylesford, but one, although pleasant enough, is of special interest because of a very tragic incident which took place here in 1867. The track follows the path of misadventure. 3 small boys went missing after wandering from their homes on the 30th of June to chase some goats. Two brothers, William and Thomas Graham, aged 6 and 4 years, set off through these wild bushland hills with their 5-year-old friend Alfred Berman. When the call for help went out, businesses were closed and a full-scale search of the bush was undertaken. Thousands scoured the rugged country in the dead of winter, but without result. The fate of the lost boys was unknown, for a while at least. The tragic end to this story took place 3 months after the boys went missing. A dog brought in a shoe, and in that shoe was a small foot, the foot of one of the boys. This led to a further search, and they found the bodies of 2 of the children in a hollow tree which was once growing in that paddock out there. The body of the third, the eldest boy, was found nearby. Today, this marker on the side of the road marks the spot where they were found. Almost 3,000 people attended the funeral when the children's remains were buried in a single grave in Daylesford Cemetery.
Situated on a hillside overlooking Daylesford, the old Holy Cross Convent, which was a place of learning and creativity since it was built in 1892, has now been converted to an outstanding gallery. In recent years, the extensive convent gallery has become the town's most popular attraction.
A walk through the old building, which once served as the nuns' home and place of learning for both day pupils and boarding students, is a walk through an amazing collection of varied artworks. The object of the gallery is to provide a place to showcase visual art of all types in a vibrant living atmosphere. Displays are carefully arranged in 7 separate but merging galleries. Works include traditional and contemporary paintings, prints, glassware, pottery, sculpture, jewellery, furniture and textiles, all created by national and internationally renowned artisans.
One of the nuns' bedrooms has been preserved and furnished in its original state as a reminder of the building's rich heritage. The most stunning reminder of the past history is the restored century-old chapel, complete with its original stained glass windows. It is still used today for weddings. The convent gallery is an amazing experience. The contrast between the spiritual, divine setting and some of the contemporary art seems somehow to work perfectly. Most visitors are struck by the extensive nature of the gallery and spend more time viewing it than they expected. At the end of the day, most people relax in a Mediterranean-style cafe, an unexpected gem in the goldfields. Next stop, Castlemaine.
At the Leylands, show you the way.
On the outskirts of Castlemaine, there's an opportunity to come face to face with a dingo. Not just one, in fact, there's over 100 of them here in this enclosure. It's a dingo farm, they breed dingoes here, and you get a chance to pat them too. But whatever you do, don't touch the fence. It's electrified. Once inside the fence, we don't just see the dingoes in their own enclosure, we're inside the enclosure with the dogs. All the animals, except for some breeding pairs, are allowed to roam free on the extensive property, and this is part of the appeal. The dingo farm was established by Bruce Jacobs more than 20 years ago, and he too lives inside the enclosure with his beloved animals. One thing he has no problem with is intruders. It has taken Bruce a large part of his life to have the laws changed so that dingoes may be kept legally as pets in Victoria. He's learned so much about them that he's considered the foremost expert on our native dog.
How come you started breeding them here?
When I was 4, I had a dingo. It was in the family. We lived in the high country, and I learnt later on in life the plight of the dingo and knew that his gene pool was getting diluted and dulled by domestic dogs gone bush, and the pure dingo won't be around much longer unless someone keeps a gene pool of pure dingoes. So then, as I got older, I realised you couldn't keep dingoes. So it became an obsession, and they were vermin, and I couldn't understand it because they made good pets in the right hands. People don't realise that the dingo is the daddy of all dogs, and it's been proven in 3 independent studies done around the world, since they were all academics, and they all come up with the same thing, that the dingo's been around at least 100 to 135,000 years and was the world's first domestic dog that went everywhere with man, as a bed warmer and a camp cleaner and a guard dog and a hunting companion. He holds the genes of all the 650 true dog breeds alive on this earth today in one animal.
The dingoes are placid and mostly lays about all day, but that quickly changes at feeding time. 140 kilograms of minced chicken meat draws a pack like nothing else can. No need for doggies' plastic bowl here. They dive in, take a mouthful each and get out just as quickly. It's truly amazing to see how such an enormous pack shares the food without fighting. I've seen 2 chihuahuas almost rip each other to pieces rather than share their meal. This is one of the most extraordinary scenes we have witnessed in a lifetime of travelling Australia. Dinner's over in 20 seconds. Then they revert back to lazing around.
Well, if you ever want a chance to pant a real...
A gravel road just south of Malden leads to an unusual property, the buildings of which were built by hand by the occupants. They came here in the 1970s to try and survive as woolen rug weavers and live an alternative lifestyle. Mandy and Ron Heath have made a success of their venture by developing the 40 acres of land, growing their own sheep for the wool, and building their home stone by stone in the manner of the pioneers who came this way a century before. The land was all they had, apart from their dream to live off it. They battled droughts, doubters and economic hardship, but have managed to raise 4 children and have a satisfying and fulfilling life.
Well, we arrived in Malden in about 1974, having come from the gorgeous area in the Dandenong Ranges known as Emerald. We just tripped over Malden and fell immediately in love with it.
And all that was on this lovely little paddock was just an old stone dairy. No power, no water, no toilet. So it was a bit of a shock, you know, because we had a proper house with electricity and things that we'd come from. So we set about building what you can see around here. We built onto a little cottage first, and the 4 of us lived in there.
And we collected windows and doors and lead lights and things for quite a number of years and stored them in a couple of old railway carriages.
I thought, well, you know, it's a pretty simple thing to build your own house, really. People who've done it for thousands of years, and I just went about it that way. Learned as I went, if you like. The old back to earth movement of the 70s, and but also we wanted to have enough land to run our sheep, because we were making and selling rugs at this stage, and we wanted to grow our own flock of sheep so that we could make a livelihood that way.
And we did want to be fairly self-sufficient and grow our own vegetables and have our own orchard, and no luxuries, was there? I mean, no. It was pretty tough with food and even growing food. And
well, I had a little single shot 22p rifle, you might call it, and so you couldn't sort of fire off lots at rabbits. I'd have to stalk the rabbits up and down the creek, and I'd take about 4 shells with me. And if that was, I'd swear I'd have to come back with 2 rabbits with that, otherwise they're getting too dear.
Oh, look, it was like being a Swiss Family Robinson. We were just in 7th heaven. I mean, it was like playing cubby houses for 5 years. with no mum and dad to tell you off.
Fortunately, those times are behind them, and we're invited to join in a delicious evening roast. Beef, not rabbit. Some of Ron's chores are still much the same as they have been for a quarter of a century. Wood still needs to be gathered and split for the stove and heater. The setting seems idyllic now, but most of these trees were planted as small seedlings and had to be drip-fed with bottles of water throughout dry summers and droughts. The main house took years to complete and uses all manner of available building materials. The bottle walls allow light in and provide for unusual strength and variety. The main walls are made of local rock, some gathered on the property and others found in nearby quarries. All were laid by hand by Ron and Mandy.
Inside, the house is spacious and very livable. Most of the windows, doors and fittings don't match, but they're all sturdy and functional. The Heaths used whatever they could find. Even something as conventional as bricks found a place in the central bathroom. The ground level floors are either tiled or finished with slate. There are several levels to accommodate the natural fall of the building site. And I'm delighted to say the kitchen is big and functional.
Come on, girls, come on!
Life on the Heath farm involves taking care of the all-important sheep, which provide their raw material for weaving. There's no need for a dog here. Mandy has a sheep well trained. A few leftovers of bread and they're soon penned up for such chores as drenching.
The original old dairy building, which once served as home for 6 while they built their house, is now used as their studio. It's here that they carry out most of their rug weaving. Ron prepares the hundreds of threads to string the looms, and these days Mandy does most of the weaving. Visitors are welcome to drop in at the studio on Sundays, and the Heaths also take school groups who wish to see how a self-sufficient lifestyle is without electricity and other modern amenities.
So the wool is twisted like that, and then we pop it in here like that. The type of wool we use is a fairly rare breed now. It's a very old breed. It's Lincoln sheep from Lincolnshire originally in England, and the reason we use that after trying many different fibres over our weaving life is that the Lincoln is a carpet fleece. It's always been bred as a carpet fleece. It's very strong, very long, and for the purposes of hand weaving, no matter how often the rug's been either steam cleaned, dry cleaned, or even hand washed, as the smaller ones can be, the rug always has a beautiful sheen to it.
Yeah.
Without the rugs, Ron and Mandy could not have made it all happen. There's always been a market for these exquisite hand-woven woolen rugs, and the income from these has kept them going. Of course, it takes a special kind of supporting relationship and determination too, which is why so few who have tried have succeeded like the Heaths. Ron and Mandy have their own shop in the main street of Malden where they sell their product.
At the moment, everything in the shop is already sold, so I decide to place an order. Mandy can take her time making it. We'll be in the caravan for a while yet, but one day Mel and I will settle down, and when we do, we can roll out the carpet. It's time to say farewell to some great friends in Malden and move on.
Echuca on the Murray River, with a population of about 10,000, is one of Victoria's most successful towns. Echuca, situated at the junction of 3 rivers, seems like a fitting name. It's derived from an Aboriginal word meaning the meeting of the waters. In the middle of the 19th century, the port of Echuca on the riverfront was the largest inland port in the country. Today, a walk along the old restored waterfront is an opportunity to experience something of that colourful past.
Trades from yesteryear, such as wood turning, are still practiced using the famous river red gums. Today, however, nearly all of the items turned out on the lathe are decorative pieces for the tourist trade.
The original wharf was 1/4 mile long, and in 1875 was the base for 35 paddle steamers and 70 barges. It had 80 hotels and an unrecorded number of brothels. The brothels have gone, but paddle steamers still ply the muddy waters. The paddle boats use the restored part of the wharf mostly to carry tourists on cruises for relaxation.
Rotting hulks of old barges seem lost to the ravages of time and mud. However, one vessel, the paddle steamer Hero, once a wreck in the mud too, has been salvaged and is being restored to its original condition by shipwrights working at the old port site. Amazingly, the hull has already been rebuilt using the same techniques, with a concession to modern power tools. The superstructure is being completed to match the original, as it was in 1874 when it was launched.
The waterfront is a good place to bump into all sorts of colourful characters. People too. The art of the cooper, a barrel maker, is alive and well on the waterfront. Here daily demonstrations of the barrel maker's art can be witnessed in the cool of a large shed on Murray Esplanade.
I had to completely shave it out.
Old, used barrels are often refurbished by the cooper. The valuable French oak barrels are much sought after by the wineries for the maturation of fine wines, including port. Part of the process includes lighting a fire inside the barrels using French oak wood chips. The hoops are then expertly fitted to provide a watertight vessel. Many modern materials have been used to make barrels, but for the purist, there's no substitute for the real thing. And as long as there are purists, coopers will always have a job. An old art, alive and well in Echuca.
The old ways are also well and truly alive on the waterfront, where just on dusk we board the paddle steamer Emmylou, which is more than 100 years old. We're heading off on an overnight cruise and have booked our private cabins for the occasion. Even though it's midwinter, the warmth of the steam engine and the well-insulated cabins should keep the chilly night air at bay.
When all the passengers are accounted for, we cast off and the engineer stokes the old wood-fired boiler to keep up the steam. As the port of Echuca recedes into darkness, we move upstream at the gentle pace of another age. The steady throb of the steam engine and the muffled rhythm of the wooden paddles offers a reassuring accompaniment to our evening meal, served on the back deck.
Any bread left?
Even the entertainment is of an earlier time. We tie up to the bank for a campfire chat before retiring for the night.
No.
Beautiful morning.
Morning on the Murray brings crisp, cool air, a light mist on the water, and lots of activity in the boiler room. While the engineer tops up the firebox, we top up our tummies in the dining room. Time to cast off and return to Echuca. The overnight campout, complete with evening meal, is quite a special experience. The Emmylou leaves Echuca every night but has a limited number of cabins. Some folks partake of the night cruise and dinner but return to town by vehicle when the boat ties up for the evening. For us though, the magic of the early morning cruise is what it's all about. This is as close as we can get to travelling back to days when the Murray River was like an inland highway carrying goods of trade to and from the pioneering settlements. Only our clothes are of this century. Everything else is as it would have been 100 years ago. Hundreds of paddle boats, just like the Emmylou, once plied this ancient river course, creating what must have been a hive of activity. Even today, the port of Echuca has the largest gathering of paddle steamers in the world. We return to the port by mid-morning and, with it, return to the present. Next, we camp in the Ballarat forest.
At the Leylands, show you the way.
Just a little further upstream of Echuca, the Murray River divides into two branches and creates a large swampy group of islands. These islands are home to the extensive Ballarat forest of river red gums, and it happens to be a great place to stop and while away some time. The Ballarat has an extensive network of access tracks, many of which lead to great isolated camping spots.
Billy's boiling. Okay, I'll take it off.
These forests are riddled with smaller creeks which feed the Murray River. It seems amazing when you look at a creek like this to think that at one time it was teeming with fish and leeches. Now in 1855 an enterprising bloke came this way and decided to start harvesting both of them. His name was Joseph Rice. He later became known as Governor Rice around these parts. He sent the leeches to London and 3 tons of fish per week to the Bendigo goldfields. Today, as you enter the Ballarat forest, you cross over this bridge here, which is known as Rice's Bridge.
Since we expect to be camped here for several days, Carmen and I reckon it's a good opportunity to unpack the inflatable and do a little boating.
A small dinghy like this is ideal for exploring shallow reaches of the Murray. This section of the river is reputed to be teeming with fish, but we just came for a look. Fallen trees, the roots of which have been undermined by flooding high waters in the past, provide a tangled obstacle course.
The current can be surprisingly strong in places. Glimpses of wildlife and the freedom of the empty river are invigorating.
The river red gums of the Ballarat forest grow well because they are subject to regular flooding. In fact, you can see the flood line mark through the forest there at the base of all those trees. Many of the trees are in fact quite young. There aren't any really big ones left because they've all been milled years ago. Although there's the odd one, and they've been ring-barked. The ones that have been ring-barked were actually too big or had useless timber in them, so that's why they were killed off. By doing this, killed off those big trees, but it did allow the younger saplings to grow up and create a new forest. The healthy river red gums have been sought after here ever since the region was first explored. The wood was used to fire the boilers of the paddle boats, and it was used to build substantial structures like the Echuca wharf. Today it is still milled. Much of the timber is used in the building and furniture industries, and some is used for railway sleepers. The great old river gums of the Ballarat are a highly valued resource, almost as valued as Lorraine's cooking, Speaking of which, whets our appetite for another of her tasty offerings.
This is a simple recipe that can be made at home or on the campfire. It's curried egg. The first step is to boil the eggs. I'm using 8 eggs as there's 4 of us. After they're boiled for 10 minutes, take them off and let them cool down. While the eggs are cooling, I'm preparing a curried sauce. First ingredients are 2 tablespoons of butter, which I need to melt. To the butter, add 2 level tablespoons of plain flour. Stir it round to combine it. Then return it to the heat for about a minute, but don't let it brown. Stir in a teaspoon of curry powder. Remove it from the heat and then slowly add in 600 ml of milk, stirring to make sure it mixes in. Make sure you get all the lumps out. Return it to the heat and keep stirring until it's thickened. While the sauce is thickening, I'm peeling the eggs, slicing them up and then adding them to the curry. Carmen, can you bring me the sauce over and I'll add these eggs to it? Great, thanks. Just need stirring the egg through, heating it up slightly just to warm the egg up.
Yum. This was my favourite meal when I was a kid.
It's ready to serve on hot buttered toast.
You've done it again, Lorraine. A delicious way to end our stay on the banks of the river. Tomorrow we pack up and move along on our great Caravan.